Hey, it's Rick. Well, I'm back for Pixie Dust Designs today, and we're going to make a 3D project using the vintage truck dies, along with some scrap, a whole sheet of cardstock. You're going to need 2 of each of the cutouts, and I'm going to go ahead and cut those off. I used a darker blue color this time, and I have already cut my truck out. And again, I cut it out twice. You're going to need a sentiment. And I picked a sentiment from the Valentine's puppy stamp set. The one that says love you. And it has this cute little heart at the top. It was super nice. And it fits perfectly in the back of the truck part right there. So I'm going to stamp that in some VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink. And I'm going to stamp it twice, just to make sure I get a nice good impression. And then I'm going to cover this with clear embossing powder. It's like my favorite way to get a nice black embossing. So I'm going to go ahead and heat set that once my heat gun got nice and hot, heated up. All right, so there are both of my little die cut trucks. I'm going to zoom in for us. And I'm going to fold these tabs back, but I ended up not having to. But before we do that, I'm going to pull out all my pieces to my truck. You have the doors, which we're going to attach now. So I'm just going to add some liquid glue behind there. I find liquid glue to work best when attaching the parts of the layers of the truck. And you do have etched lines in your die cut that shows you where everything needs to line up. All right, I'm going to add my window to the door, and I just used some light blue cardstock for that, just to scrap that I had from that bag that I showed you. And it's where all of my cardstock pieces for the truck came from, besides the whole sheet of cardstock. I added in the little steering wheel. And as you can see, some of those pieces are designer series paper. Some of them are glitter paper. I just picked what would go next. When you're lining up the little footrest on the truck, make sure you get it the right way because it does go a certain way. I'm going to line up the wheels and attach those onto this is going to be the front part of my little gift box. And this is a perfect gift box for someone for Father's Day or masculine birthday or any kind of guy in your life that's into trucks, or actually anybody that's into trucks. I added my tail light and my headlight, and I cut those out from yellow and pink cardstock. I'm going to add my little hubcaps onto my tires, which are done from that same glittered cardstock. I will have all the supplies listed in the visual supply list below. If you're watching this on my channel, if you're watching this on the Pixie Dust channel, I will have the Pixie Dust supplies listed on the in the description below. I'm going to add my bumpers, I guess is what they're called. I really don't know. So anyway, we're going to do this again in case you didn't catch it the first time. This is going to be the back part of my truck, and actually you don't have to put all the pieces on there because you can't really see them all once the truck is standing up. Like the bumpers, you don't really have to put all those on there. I am going to put the window in and the door with the little steering wheel. And if it's easier, you can do it this way like I'm doing right now, where I just picked up my little wand and added the pieces before I attached them down. We're going to go ahead and attach that door in there and the little door handle. You think I would know what these things are called, but I really don't. I've never been into trucks or automobiles. Anyway, so there's that, and I'm going to fold those little tabs back, and I'm going to end up cutting those off because I'm not going to need them for what I'm doing today. Because we're going to actually make a box that goes on the inside, and part of the box actually comes from the die set, but I'm going to add little pieces to it. So I'm going to put in my last little tail light up here, that pink cardstock, and put in the front light. Do I put in the front light? I can't remember. Yes, I do. So I'm just adding a little liquid glue in there. I'm going to pop that headlight in, and I just, again, use yellow cardstock. And then I'm going to lay there. Now, if you want to use the, we're going to do the symbol of the box now. But if you wanted to use this like with the little tabs, you wouldn't have to add the, you can just attach those together and make another layer. There's several different ways you can do this and make a cute little box or a 3D project. All right, for the little box that I'm using, I'm going to put a little liquid glue on the little corner there and fold it up like at a 90-degree angle. I believe that's a 90-degree angle. Again, it's math. Math is hard. That's why I don't do math. I did 2 of those, and I'm going to add glue to the bottom of one of them, and I'm just going to sandwich them together and slide it in. Those little tabs on the other side, we're going to flip out just like this. And I'm going to add a little bit of glue just like I did with the first one and put it in that 90-degree angle. I am going to hold those together with some reverse tweezers because it makes it super easy. So we're going to do the other side. I'm going to pinch that together while that glue dries. That way it holds it nice and steady. And by the time I get that done, you can actually take off the reverse tweezers. So I'm figuring out how we're going to put this together, and I'm just going to attach those right in there where the door and the cab and the back of the truck is. So I'm just going to line those up, and this is where I'm figuring I'm not have enough room because of that last bumper, so I'm just going to take it off because you're not going to see it anyway. So I'm just making sure that's going to line up. And I'm just going to put it right in there, line it up, hold it in place while that glue sets up. You could totally use tear and tape. And I'm going to do that on the other side to show y'all. If you wanted a little sturdier. But I find the liquid glue to be just perfectly fine to do this. So I'm going to take those off to the little reverse tweezers. We are going to add our tearing. I'm going to go ahead and cut those little tabs off because now I realize I don't need them for this. If I was making just a 3D stand-up truck, yeah, I would need them, but I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and take those off. I'm going to pop the other one on, just line it up. I'm going to add my little 1/8 inch score tape, if I could get it to stick, right on around the outside edge. I had the worst time, y'all, with this score tape. You would be surprised. I'm just going to trim it off a little bit, add just a little piece on the other 2 sides. I also added a little liquid glue to make it easier, so I had a little wiggle room. Anytime I add some kind of adhesive like this, I always add liquid glue because it gives me that wiggle room that I need to get everything lined up. So we're going to peel those little backings off. Here I go with my little liquid glue. I love my liquid glue. We're going to line our 2 pieces of our truck up. Excuse me. So I'm going to line those up, make sure I got them nice and lined up, pinch them together, and hold them in place. You can see why you need some of the parts and pieces because it's going to show through from the other side, but you don't necessarily have to have it on the other. You could totally have put it on the reverse side and not worried about it, but Rick didn't do that. All right, so I'm going to need a brace in there. So I'm going to cut a piece of cardstock, and I believe it is 1 3/4 inches. And I just made it the width of the top, and I scored it at 3 7/8 and 1 7/8 and 1 3/8, something like that. A 1/2 inch off both sides is what you want to do. So just score it, figure out your measurement on the inside, score them both at a 1/2 inch, and just brace them with a little liquid glue in there. Make sure they're nice and lined up. That's all you had to do. That 2 little pieces of cardstock, and they're basically just scraps, actually helped me stabilize my little truck gift box. And there's my box put together. I can throw my little gift in there. It would hold some mini candy bars or anything like that. That would be super cute in there. You can put a little bag in there with some treats that had them stick them up. Now, don't do like I'm doing. Do your highlights and stuff before. I didn't think about them until after I got the box put together, so it wasn't quite as easy as it should have been. Should have done all that before, and Rick just didn't. I didn't even think about it till I always do them at the end. That's why. Such a life. All right, to finish this off, I'm going to add a little bit of Stardust Stickles on the glass of the window that's going to show, and I'm just putting a very thin layer across it, and I'm going to smooth it out with my finger. It dries super quickly that way. We're going to add some to our headlight and to our tail light just to give that extra little pop of something. All right, so there is our cute little gift box all put together, and it stands up all on its own. Make sure you give this video a like, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Love you.